Hello, it's Rich Rosen, founder and CEO of Fastcall, and I'm going to give a demo of our application for our user's guide. So I am in Salesforce and I'm looking at a lead record in Lightning. We could just as well be in Classic or even Console, and I'll show those in a few minutes. So here in Lightning, you'll see that um, the phone is in the footer in Lightning. In Classic, it's in the sidebar. In Console, it's in the right footer. And we're going to click the phone number on a record. We're going to click on any Salesforce record. And let me just scooch the page up a little bit there so you can see it. So we're dialing. So I click the phone number, we're dialing. You can see here that there's some options. This is the record we're dialing. I can actually search if I, on an outbound call you wouldn't need to, but I'll show you on an inbound call you could search if you need to attach the call to a different record. That's the subject, my notes. There's some options here in the sidebar. This is going to give me any task pick list that might have been set up by your org admin. Any Salesforce task pick list would be here. Um, these are some advanced options. So the ability to drop voicemail, the ability to log a call to a case or to an opportunity. Um, these are my call results, and you'll see these in two places. You can set your call results here from the sidebar, or you can do it within the application. So I'm actually going to end the call, and you'll see that the application is now asking for the call results. And that's also a setup that can be customized by your org admin, but it's the default. So essentially the application will say, no, we need you to finish. You need to set your call result. And let's say we schedule a presentation. And then I'm closing the task. And that's actually closing the Salesforce task, which we've created. So there it is. The call was just logged. You can see that the page didn't actually refresh, but the call is created in real time. And you will see that there is a Salesforce task as well as a custom object for calls, which you may or may not see in your org. So Fastcall is creating a custom object for calls, and at the same time, we're creating the Salesforce task, which is the default and what most subscribers rely on is the Salesforce task. And you can see that here. So inside the widget itself, there's dial pad. You'll see here it actually tells us which phone we're on and the caller ID. I'll show you that in a second. So here's our recent calls. Inside the widget itself, you see the dial pad recent calls. These are the recent calls. This is my phone. You may or may not have SMS, but if you do, it would be here. These are some call goals that could be set up, and this is actually our internal dialer, which enables us to dial any other users in your org. So they could be Fastcall users, Salesforce users, a group of users. Um, it's an internal dialer. Kind of works the same way that a call transfer does too. You can transfer calls to users groups, Fastcall users or Salesforce users. So popping back over here to phone, you'll see in here, this is the call we just made. So the green arrow is outbound. This is actually was an inbound voicemail. That's an outbound call. This is an inbound call that was missed, red arrow. And then we come in and we click on this. It's going to take us to the detail. Tells us it's outbound, was completed, date, time, duration, call result, phone numbers. I can call here from the widget, and that would create a reply call back to this record. I can SMS reply to this record if this was an inbound call. So we'd say if we came over here and we went to this inbound call, I could call back this inbound call that's been missed and is unknown, and I can reply call here, I can SMS call here, or I can click here, and that's going to take me to, I'll minimize this, it's going to take me to the task in Salesforce. Again, this is Lightning, but this is the task that was created for the call. So the caller ID, the number they dialed, which is my number, there was no call result set because I didn't answer the call, so this call was missed. So I would reply here. You will see that up here in the task object, you do have the option to assign the call. So for example, this call was missed. There's two ways that I can actually look for that. I'm kind of jumping into the inbound missed call, but the assign call is going to enable me to search for a record that matches this phone number. So if I come in here, I can do it two ways. I can do it inside the widget itself, and I can search, and I didn't find anything, but I can say, you know what, I really knew that was Steve, and I can type in for Steve, and then the you can attach the inbound call to Steve, or you can create a new lead. Okay, so I jumped into a little bit about inbounds. When inbound call is coming in, and we do have a separate page on that, the call is going to present here. If you're on the soft phone, you're going to answer the call on the soft phone. If you're not answering the soft phone, the call will still pop here, and you can log the call here and answer the call outside of Salesforce. So I mentioned soft phone. So our settings are here inside the widget. Calling devices are sort of as it says, what am I using to make my call? Soft phone is entirely in the browser on a high quality wired headset. I could be on an office phone, mobile phone. A call logger is used for both for testing and just to log the call. So if you wanted to log a call and not test. You can see here that in my org, I have a bunch of phones, a couple of mobile phones, two office phones. They're all set here. You can be on your office phone and show your mobile phone. It's caller ID. We don't love the mobile phone as a device for every call, but we support it. And if you wanted to use the mobile phone because perhaps the soft phone connection just isn't great wherever you are, and the mobile phone connection is better in that case. Generally, we find the soft phone connection is better. But you can set the phone here, and then the next thing you would set is your caller ID. So you can set up both caller ID here, and you'll see this says provisioned. So these are provisioned caller IDs, which are numbers that are set up in the application, and that Fastcall is routing those calls for inbound calls because they're provisioned. So we can route calls for an inbound number that's provisioned, or you can verify caller ID that happens to be my mobile phone. You can verify caller ID that you own and that we're not routing those inbound calls. So they're both here. We put them into different columns to kind of keep them organized. Call recording settings, pretty straightforward. Uh, Other account settings for you that are outside of what you're seeing here. The diagnosis link gives you the ability to test your internet connection for the soft phone. That's kind of important. And if you need support, it is here. And that's all revealed in the sidebar menu. So um, I had mentioned inbound. So as voicemail, I mentioned that before, SMS. So it's all self-contained inside the widget. I did say that we want to take a peek if you're still hanging around for the video. Um, of this is the record in Classic. I think that's probably worth showing. It's here in the sidebar. Uh, the only difference between Classic and Lightning or Console, if you are on the soft phone in Classic, you cannot edit a Salesforce record while you're on the phone. Matter of fact, if I am on a call here and I navigate away, it's going to stop the phone call. If I was in Lightning, that's one of the awesome things about Lightning is the phone will stay persistent through your session. So I just went to home, I can go to leads, I can go to contacts, accounts, and the phone is going to stay persistent. So if you're on a call, that call is going to stay persistent through your browser sessions. In Classic, that's not the case, and that's an important differentiator. The other interface that we like is Console, and Console is similar. Console is kind of the intermediate interface between Classic and Lightning, where you have a list view here in one console window, and you have a detail here, and you work in tabs. Kind of similar to Lightning, but a little different. The phone is over here in Classic, excuse me, in Console. But it also Console has that same benefit of you can edit the record while you're on a call. In Console, you can't do that in Classic. Okay, so let's talk about another couple minutes real quick. I did mention your settings. Um, so when you are a standard user, you're going to see your settings. If I was an admin, you would see all the admin settings here. But your settings here, some of the same settings that we saw in the widget are here, and the user settings, devices, uh, routing for inbound calls, my phones, which are my provisioned phones or my verified phones, are here. And you're going to see phones that are assigned either to you, like here, that's me, or a group that you're a member of if you're happen to be using that setup. So And the same thing's true for messages. You're going to see messages that are assigned to you or a group where you're a member. Pretty straightforward. SMS templates, another link for support. There's a user panel. Where you're going to see other users in the org and if they're on an active call and who's available and logged in. That can be helpful. So there's additional information on many of our more specific features on our website. So things like voicemail drop and dial by list, and some more specific information on inbound and inbound call routing like IVR, interactive voice response, or ACD, automatic call distribution. We do have some specific data on each individual capability here. It's under why Fastcall, call recording, call transfer, but the user guide just wants to kind of get you up and started to make an outbound call. So that's super easy to do. Fastcall is installed in the Salesforce App Exchange. It's installed by an admin only, so your admin would have installed the application from the App Exchange. Or when it comes time to update the application, you do that here as well. The application is also paid for in the App Exchange. All of the support information is also on our website, but we do have some shortcuts here within the application too, some support information. So it's version 5.30 in May. We'll be releasing, we do generally release updates every couple of weeks or so. Anyway, if you have any questions or you hated this video, send us an email, support@fastcall.com, and tell us whether you liked the video or didn't like the video or have any additional questions. Great. Bye.